So other than my last video, it's been a bit since I've posted, and I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about where I've been, some of the things I've learned, and kind of plans for the channel going forward, and also talk a bit about my process for illustrating this drawing of a space person, a space entity, working on a starship. Nothing like really super meaningful behind this drawing of, and I thought it would be fun and cool to draw someone working on a starship in space. I don't do a lot of sci-fi, so it's always nice to change it up a bit. My two main, I guess, genres of art are sci-fi and fantasy. I mostly do fantasy, and then occasionally when I get bored of fantasy, I'll jump over to sci-fi. So that's kind of what this drawing is about. But back to the main topic, I kind of wanted to talk a bit about where I've been. Don't have a really hard script for this video. It's a little bit more fast and loose, which kind of off the cuff. So if you like this format, let me know in the comments as well. But where I've been. Over the past kind of 4 months of my last video, or the video before this one, I've kind of just been going through this period I go through kind of every year around late summertime, where I lose is the wrong word. Art kind of takes a back seat in my life, and I tend to focus on other projects, other things. So a lot of the time it's just me relaxing and taking a bit of a break, kind of a summer break, if you will, from productivity on my art goals and goals in general. Primarily art goals though. In the past, when I was really in the deep area of learning to draw, it was a time for study and learning the fundamentals, that kind of a thing. And I still do that occasionally, but nowadays I kind of go in and out of refreshing myself on the fundamentals when I feel like I need to, or if I'm trying to draw something and I need a particular fundamental to accomplish that drawing, I'll kind of go back and learn that specific fundamental or practice it to kind of refresh myself and accomplish the task ahead of me. But this year, I was a bit more focused on running. So running is a big part of my life outside of art, and I was training for a half marathon. And I say that not to and really this is going to be my only mention of it, because I always feel super awkward talking about running, because I don't ever want to sound egotistical or anything about it. I feel like fitness in general kind of has that connotation to it a lot of the time, but really it does a lot for my mental health and really helps me kind of unpack things and figure things out. This is the first race I've ever done. Kind of just wanted to try something new and attempt something new and really kind of push myself in that area and run an actual race. Before that, I'd run the 13.1 miles before, but to be honest, a lot of it I was kind of like ego running and kind of just running to get energy out, for lack of a better term, and get and that kind of serves its purpose for my mental health. But I really wanted to kind of learn to train properly, that kind of a thing with this one, and do it right. I really got a lot out of it. I really learned a lot of things, a lot of very personal things that I'm not really going to go into in this video, but I kind of wanted to talk about that because I think a lot of the time our artistic growth and really growth in life in general does not come from our main focus, right? I would consider art as my main focus in terms of the goals I want to accomplish, my career as well. I'm a videographer outside of this YouTube art illustration stuff professionally, so that I am a professional artist, just not in illustration or drawing, right? But doing things like this half marathon or other, it doesn't have to be a race or anything physical for that matter, just something that gets you out of your comfort zone and helps you grow as a person, will also help grow your art as well. The art we make is kind of just a byproduct of, who we are as an individual. So the more you grow as a person, logically speaking, the more your art will grow as well, or maybe not grow, but change and shift as you change and shift. And really kind of what I learned, my big takeaway from this race and training for it, is I don't really care about the ways the world wants me to approach my art. I think for a long time I was really focused in on doing things the quote-unquote right way, or the socially approved way of creating and making things, and I just kind of want to do my own thing and not really care about that. So one of those things I kind of touched on in my last video was rendering my artwork. A lot of the time I try to throw in shadows and lighting, all that kind of stuff, but I really don't enjoy that part of the process. I do know how to do it, which I think is important if you're going to ignore a fundamental, is don't just ignore it because you're bad at it, but ignore it logically, it's a choice to not include it, right? And lately when I've kind of been exploring that in my past two pieces, this one and the one before it, and more off camera, I really enjoyed kind of ignoring that part of the process, and I think that's totally okay. You don't need to create in any way outside of yourself, right? And I think being on social media, being an artist in 2025, if you will, really kind of pushes you in the direction of this socially prescribed way of creating and doing things, and honestly living your life in general. And really, other than this YouTube channel and Blue Sky, like exclusively pretty much posting images, I don't really use social media at all. Really, even using YouTube is slightly uncomfortable for me, but I think a big important part of making art is to share it. So really, I kind of set and forget my content, for lack of a better term, and don't really look back at it, right? I read comments, stuff like that, but I don't really engage with other things, or like, I'll sit on reels and stuff occasionally, like we all do, but I really try and do my best to not be on social media hardly at all, other than posting and interacting when I have to, or if I genuinely see something cool, I'll obviously like comment on someone else's post, like on Blue Sky or whatever. But what I'm kind of getting at here is I'm really kind of trying to distance myself from the way other people like to do things and its influence on me and myself. I think a lot of the time, and that's the same thing with like kind of why I've jumped into retro gaming in my own, gaming life, or like, outside of art and stuff, is, it's just something different, right? It's outside of the social norm. It's kind of booming right now, weirdly, on YouTube, but like really, yeah, I'm just trying to ditch kind of the conventional ways of doing things and figuring out how I like to do them. And I think that is probably one of the most important things you can do as an artist. And it's weird because I'm obviously creating content here, but I also don't really like content, and that doesn't mean like I don't watch YouTube. I'm not like someone trying to go live out in the woods or something. Like I still engage and consume content, but I'm trying to be very mindful of like what I do consume and how I consume it, right? Am I actually getting something out of what I'm consuming and watching, that kind of a thing. And if I'm not, I generally turn it off and don't pay any attention. I really try and just focus on hanging out with my family, hanging out with my friends, and then making art, and not really worrying about any of the other BS, which I think is super important. But that was a long social media rant. I kind of want to talk a little bit at the end here about the comic as well. So I'm making all these changes to art style and the way I'm doing things. Am I still making the comic? Yes. If you didn't know, you probably didn't know, because I didn't post about it other than on Blue Sky, and most people don't follow me on Blue Sky, they follow me here. Is the last update to chapter 2, issue 2 of the comic is out. It's up on my website. Link is below. Link is always below. But really, I'm just kind of taking a bit of time to write the third chapter and the third issue, because I did not write it beforehand. A big part of the way of how I like to make things is kind of on the fly as I go. I'm kind of making the comic like I prep D&D, because I am a DM. Making it as I go. I have an overarching plot and story in my head. I'm kind of figuring out the non-core story beats as I make it, which is super fun. That's how I like to make things. But what that does mean is it does take me time to sit and write here periodically, instead of making it all in the front half, right? Like I guess some people do. So there will be a bit of a break on the comic, at least in releases. I am working on it though. I am not hitting most likely my end of the year deadline. I really want to take my time with it, and make it as good as I can with what it is. And I'll also I'm not changing the art style of the comic or anything like that. I'm still going to be drawing in the style the comic's in, so on and so forth. But it will probably release and finish up sometime next year. I would say definitely before summer is my goal. I don't want it to really go past that, because I've said in other videos there's other stuff I want to work on. But yeah, not much else to say here. Just kind of really needed to get that stuff out, and kind of wanted to update you on how my life's going, I guess, if you care. I hope you enjoyed the artwork in the background, to kind of talk a little bit about that a bit more. Just exploring more of this style, exploring kind of really what I'm trying to do with my artwork now is put in elements that are absolutely necessary. So like if I need shadows, I'll make shadows in terms of rendering. If I need highlights, I'll put in highlights. But if I don't, I'm not including them for the sake of them being there. In terms of how I want my style to feel, right? It's all a preference, and it's all a taste thing, right? But really trying to maintain the simplicity of black lines and simple color and color theory, which has been very enjoyable for me. But I hope you enjoyed this long-winded rant, long talk type of video. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff where I just brain vomit on you, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, hopefully got some cool stuff planned. I'm also kind of going to switch gears on the YouTube channel a little bit. It's always going to be art-centric. I do want to include more of my interests of like, gaming and D&D, tabletop RPGs, that kind of thing, into the videos, just because, it gets tiring making the videos all about like mental health and the art journey, because sometimes I just don't have deep things to say and I just want to have a good time. So hopefully you're in for that. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.